Bismillah wa salatu wa salam ala Rasulillah. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. It's my privilege to be able to share some reflections with you from the sixth juz of the Quran. Many of you will have heard the previous reflection from the fifth juz that was shared by my colleague. And of course, the thing about the fifth juz of the Quran that it predominantly deals with Surah An-Nisa, the chapter of women. And I think one of the most remarkable things about Surah An-Nisa is that it really deals with the entire schema of rights, of oppression, uh, in almost every single aspect of life. So, right from the very beginning, where we're told about the rights that exist towards orphans, the rights that exist towards between marital spouses. So, for at the very micro levels of society, we're taught about not oppressing one another, about being equitable in our dealings with one another. It's about so much more than simply what we understand oppression to be at these very, very large levels. But of course, we have the large stuff as well. There's the ayah in Surah An-Nisa where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala describes these people in Mecca who are raising their hands to the sky, seeking Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's help in dua, that send us a savior. And so we're taught about the ethics of helping the oppressed throughout. And the Surah Nisa continues through to the sixth part of the Quran, the sixth juz of the Quran. And I picked up the Quran and I was thinking, okay, let me think about what I'm going to say, what reminder I'm going to give. And literally, the sixth juz opens with this verse: God does not like bad words to be made public unless someone has been wronged. He is all hearing and all knowing. I mean, this is literally the start of the sixth juz. So we're all, as Muslims, very familiar with the dignity that we have been given by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and taught through the practice of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, that in our dealings with one another, we have the right to a degree of dignity, that we have the right not to have people say bad things about us, especially behind our backs, but even being slandered in front of us. And these are extremely important ethics that we have as Muslims. But here we are being presented with something that's seemingly opposite to that. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala doesn't like bad language being used or bad words being made public. Okay, and bad words here can encompass this idea of speaking ill of another person, except in a circumstance that we're presented here, which is, and I repeat, unless someone has been wronged. And the word for wronged here is the same root as the word oppression. So it can be translated as part of that as well. That what we understand from this is that someone or some people are being wronged, that they're being oppressed. And this is the exception, that this is the circumstance in which we as Muslims are able to then speak out against somebody, that we're able to hold people to account, that we're able to expose them for what they've done. And because we live in this time where so much emphasis is put on like adab, which is right, of course, we should really think about adab all the time. But we should also think about adab in terms of the way that it's used to police us. I know some people refer to this as adab policing, but there's an important aspect of this, which is to what extent can we say that we shouldn't speak about somebody when there is somebody else who's being wronged at the other end of their actions or their statements. Now, that's extremely important. And as we think about what our relationship is to our faith, to the world around us, we should really take heed of this, because our failure to say something isn't just something that we can just brush aside. It has an implication for us as well. If you see somebody being wronged and you don't act, you don't say something in that regard, then this may be something that we're culpable of. Being bystanders is not an option as a Muslim. We're not given an ethic of just just be a bystander, watch from a distance, don't get involved. That's not part of our faith. And that's why the second part of that ayah, that same ayah, is so important. But Allah is saying He is all hearing and all knowing. That yes, He hears and knows exactly what the oppressor is doing, but He's also all hearing and knowing of what we do as well. That yes, we shouldn't use bad language, but where there is oppression taking place, then there comes a different duty, which is to help, to assist. And that can take very many different forms. I'm not saying go out there and start kind of like, slinging insults at people left, right, and center. That's not what my intent here is. My intent here is to say that find creative ways to hold people to account when they're oppressing others. That don't hide behind this idea that where oppression is happening, we should just let it go, especially when Muslims are doing the oppressing. We need to hold them to account, and by holding to the account, we're actually staying true to the ethic that the Quran provides us. So inshallah, I hope that was a reflection that was useful for you all. And please feel free to comment back, and inshallah, I pray that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala guides us all to what is best and what is most just. Jazakumullah khair. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.